I didn't lose strength when I became vulnerable. Definitely didn't. I actually gained strength because now I don't lead from pride. I lead from presence. Let's be real. Most men avoid vulnerability because we don't want to look weak. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to say the wrong thing. We don't want to admit that we don't have it all together. What if I told you that the thing you're most afraid to share is the thing that makes you unstoppable? You've been taught to be the rock, to keep it all in, to take the hits and never flinch. But let me ask you something. If silence made you stronger, why do you still feel so misunderstood, so isolated, so exhausted? This episode isn't about breaking it down. It's about breaking free. Because once I learned how to be vulnerable in the right way, my leadership leveled up. My relationship deepened, and the weight I was carrying finally got lighter. Stick around because what you're about to learn could change how your family sees you, how your wife trusts you, and how your kids remember you. By the end of this episode, you're going to walk away with a brand new definition of vulnerability that actually honors your masculinity. A deeper understanding of why emotional openness earns you more respect and not less. Practical ways to express your feelings without losing your edge. And the exact mindset shift that made me a better man, a better husband, a better father. Because being vulnerable isn't about falling apart. It's about finally standing in your own strength. Most men were never taught how to be vulnerable. We were taught how to tough it out, suck it up, push through, don't cry, don't talk, don't feel, just fix. And it worked until it didn't. Because when your whole life is built around not feeling, you eventually stop connecting. And when you stop connecting, you start losing the things that matter the most. Your peace, your marriage, your sense of purpose, your ability to lead with authenticity, the trust of your kids, your own inner clarity, that be strong, don't talk mindset. It's outdated and it's dangerous, not because it makes you a bad man. It's because it robs you of the ability to be a whole one. Let's clear this all the way up. Vulnerability is not oversharing, breaking down in public, being dramatic, letting your emotions control you. You still have to be a man and keep yourself together. It's not tuning someone out that you're not into. Vulnerability is the courage to express what's real even when it's uncomfortable. The strength to admit I am still growing. The presence to say, here's where I am and here is where I'm headed. The emotional intelligence to lead your family with clarity, compassion. Vulnerability is a strategic honesty. It's how you build trust with the people who matter. It's how you lead with emotional discipline. It's how you create a legacy that goes deeper than providing and protecting. You connect, and that connection, that's where your real power lives. Let me tell you what happened when I finally dropped the armor and got real. I started having better conversations with my wife. Not just surface talk, not conflict, but actual communication that built intimacy because she finally felt the inner me. I started having deeper moments with my kids. I wasn't just present, I was available. They didn't just see me as a dad who handles business, even though I do. They saw me as a dad who listens, that understands and teaches. I even started having more clarity with myself. Because when you start telling the truth about what you really feel, you start hearing what you've been ignoring for years. That honesty with yourself, that's when the breakthrough begins. I didn't lose strength when I became vulnerable. Definitely didn't. I actually gained strength because now I don't lead from pride. I lead from presence. Let's be real. Most men avoid vulnerability because we don't want to look weak. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to say the wrong thing. We don't want to admit that we don't have it all together. But here's the irony. The longer you hide what you're carrying, the heavier it gets. And nobody knows the load because you've been trained to keep it to yourself, to smile through it, to stay busy, to grind harder, to lead like nothing is wrong. But inside, you're screaming, you're stressed, you're confused, and you're drained. And eventually that stuff shows up in how you talk and how you snap at your kids and how distant you become from your wife and how you isolate and how you burn out and how you stop dreaming. But vulnerability, when done right, can change all of that. It's not a weakness, it's wisdom because nothing heals in hiding. So how do you actually do this? How does a man who's always been guarded open up? Let me give you the blueprint. Start with yourself. If you can't be honest with you, then you'll never be honest with anyone else. Ask yourself questions like, what's really bothering me right now? What do I keep avoiding emotionally? What am I pretending not to feel? Give yourself permission to understand these things, then lead through it. Number 2, choose safe spaces. Not everybody deserves access to your truth. Start with people who've earned your trust, like your wife, your closest brother, a mentor, a coach, a counselor. Let them see the man behind the responsibility, right? Number 3, speak with strength. Vulnerability doesn't mean falling apart. It means saying that I'm working through something right now, and here's where I'm at with it. I don't have all the answers yet, but I am committed to showing up and doing what's necessary. Keep it real, keep it composed, keep it intentional. Number 4, stay consistent. Don't open up once and then shut down for the next 6 months. Make it a part of your rhythm, a part of how you lead, a part of how you teach, a part of how you connect, because vulnerability isn't a moment, it's a muscle. And when you use it wisely, it becomes one of the strongest tools you will ever carry. Let me leave you with this. You want to be remembered? You want to be the man your wife brags about? The father your kids never forget? The leader people trust? The brother your circle respects? It's not about being perfect. It's not about pretending that you have it all together. It's not about performing. It is about showing up fully with presence, with truth, with strength, with vulnerability. Because the man who can say, I am strong enough to protect and honest enough to connect, that man, he's powerful. He's trusted. He's respected. And he's free. You don't have to carry it all by yourself anymore. You don't have to prove that you're bulletproof. You just have to be real. That's what made me a better man. And it's what I hope to make you one too. Take care of yourself. Do what is necessary to keep your family believing in you. Do it with truth, do it with humility, and most of all, do it with vulnerability. They are looking to you to be their strength and to guide them. Be real, be human, be the man they believe you to be.